Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now I did start this page last night. It is a page from Camilla de Erico's Dragon Book. I'm not going to keep saying the name, I always muggle it up. But like I said, I did start this last night and I was using the Derwent drawing pencils just in case you're interested. I kept these colours out because obviously I've not finished the rest of it. But for the light shade I use Crag Green and then Olive Earth and then Chocolate. So I'm going to be able to finish the actual colouring of this later on this evening. But my plan now is I want to pop a beautiful bright background on. I am going to use my small set of Derwent Inktense blocks for this. And I think I'm just going to use these three first colours and then possibly a little bit of the brown, maybe a little bit of the black. I'm umming and ahhing about the green. I just want the background to really pop. Now because I'm using Inktense, usually with watercolour I'm happy being messy, but I am going to have to be a little bit more careful around the actual illustration on this one. So I've just popped some plastic sheets. Now I will say beforehand, I'll show you, that the page behind I'm not overly keen on. This one here with all the ribbons and stuff. So I'm not overly fussed if this either bleeds through or the paint goes on the opposite side, ink goes on the opposite side. I'm not too fussed. I probably could save it anyway with like acrylic paint, but that's what I'm doing. But I'm going to pop a little bit of this washi tape on this side because I do like this page. I do want to colour that one with the weird rabbit and the massive carrots. So yeah, I just thought that I'd film this. So let's just pop, I think one should be enough. Let's get that as straight as I can. There we go. And I'm not going to push it all the way down, just in the very centre of the book, the spine of the book. Right, so to activate my colours, my pipette is in the kitchen because I've not unwashed it, so I'll use this. Like yellow, orange, red. I'll activate these are the colours that I mentioned just in case I do want to use them. Just like that. And you've got these wells that you can use, but I think I just want to go straight from the pan to the paper and then mix it on the paper. These are really vibrant, these blocks. And I'll just, I think I need the motivation to get the background done before I can carry on with the rest of it. I think that's what it is, because it took me over an hour. Over an hour last night, but I was very tired to be fair, just to do his little leg there at the front. So I have pulled out two Derwent aqua brushes and just one watercolour brush. Now this is a number 6 Billy Showman one. The camera probably doesn't want to pick it up, but I promise you that's what it is. No. So let's try with the number 2 of the Derwent. Let's get that wet. Now normally I would put clips on to keep the page flat down, but because this is right at the end of the book, I don't think I need to. If I was doing it in the middle of the book, then I'd probably be more prone to doing that. So yeah, they activate really quick. Really quick, these. I do need a little bit more water there. Just pop some there. It doesn't matter if it gets messy at all, I'm not worried about that. But wow, look at that. They're bright, aren't they? Super duper bright. So now that the colour's on there, and there's lots and lots of colour, all I'm going to do is add extra water. And I think I'm going to do the same technique as what I do with the neon colour twos. I just sort of tap it. I've chosen to film and my belly started rumbling again. I swear I do feed myself. You wouldn't think so though with the sounds my stomach makes on camera. So in with that orange, see, wow. Get these mixed in. And I do think that I want to do possibly 2 layers 2 layers of this, and I will let it all dry naturally and then come back to it later on this evening. I'm not in any rush to get the page finished all in one go anyway. So just trying to be a little bit more careful around the actual illustration. Let's go back in with that yellow. If you can hear tipper tappers, Rollo is currently hiding under my desk because it is quite warm. So that's where she likes to lay. You will notice with Inktense as well, it says that it won't move once it's dry, it won't reactivate, but if you've not activated the amount of pigment that you've put on your page, it will look like it's reactivating if you spilt water or you go over with a second layer. It's not that the areas like here, for instance, I won't be able to reactivate that because it's a thin layer, but up here where it is a lot thicker, you see, it does actually move. But once you've activated all of that pigment, it won't budge. It will not budge. I wonder what these are like on fabric. So a little bit of red. This one is really, really pigmented. And I'm going to work in sections, so let's do this quarter first and then move round. So I'm popping the colour on around the illustration. You see the tree there, but then dabbing the edges. And then here I can be a little bit more looser with it. More water. It's going to look like a fireball in the background. A little bit more yellow. Now I won't have to use the heat gun. I'm going to pop this outside in the natural light. Probably 10 minutes should do it. I do think once I've coloured this little guy in, it will really pop with this background. I know it looks quite messy at the minute, but it's one of them you need to trust the process, as they say. Now the paper is starting to buckle ever so slightly, but that's to be expected. It's not watercolour paper. I probably would have been more shocked if it behaved itself. That's our first little quarter done. I do want to blend that out a little bit more. Are you going in your bed? A bit warmer in there, Rollo. I think I'll do this bottom part next. Start off with the yellow. Let's get a nice layer of this down. More water. So a little bit of pigment does go a long way with these. You know what would probably be a good idea? I don't know if you'd be able to do it or not though. If you had empty pans, let's say, you can buy the empty pans really cheaply, just the plastic ones. Whoops, I went on his nail a little bit there, never mind. And break a little piece of the block off and put it in each of the pans, and then you're making your own sort of travel palette maybe, because I do have the travel Inktense palettes and aren't they the same thing? So maybe that's a cheaper way of creating them palettes. I don't know whether you could mix the colours as well to create even more colours. That might be an idea, that. I to get an empty palette. I haven't got any spare. More of the orange. I do want to be really careful around his little face. I don't want to get any of this ink on his face, because I don't know what the colour soft is going to be like going over this Inktense. I was having issues, it was that Crag green, I was having really bad issues with that last night, sharpening it, and then it was breaking in my sharpener, and I've never had an issue with my sharpener before, so I don't think it was that. It was just not behaving at all. So we've got a little bit of water here that we'll try to go around. They are very crumbly as well, the not colour soft, drawing pencils. Did I say colour soft? The Derwent drawing pencils, very crumbly, super thick core. It was a new to me colour as well. Carefully go around these. And then his other little leg, just add more water. Like I said, I do want to go in with 2 layers on this. Want more of that red down here. I just love how bright they are. Let's add some more orange in there, and I do need more yellow as well. Let's clean that off, pop some more yellow on. This is the intricate bit. You've got to be a little bit more careful. I could always actually, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Once I've done the background, I could base all of the trees, because there's a lovely green in here that I could use. I was thinking about doing it that colour. That's what I'm going to do. Use this as a base. Less pencil work then. Dab some of this out now. All that red. Is there a grey? There is actually a grey as well, so I could go over the canyons. Am I going to be able to do most of this page with Inktense? Even though I've started it with the coloured pencil. Red. This page very much reminds me of a Kirby page. You know, the Worlds Within Worlds really reminds me of that. But like, if it was a cute version of it. Because look at his little face. But then look at the opposite side, that huge bunny. I find that quite creepy. So we're getting to the end of the first layer here. Just do some last minute messing around. And then let this dry. See, I'm not liking that that's just a real pale yellow colour. So let's a little bit more. Right, so I will let that completely dry. Be patient with it. I'll pop it outside for 10-15 minutes. Probably the good time to go and have my dinner, it's 1 o'clock. And then come back to finish that background. So we're nice and dry now. I did just pop something behind here just to stop it from touching the other side, but it still has a little bit. Why are you, camera, skew if? There we go. There we go. So in with our second layer, so we're doing the same thing again. Activate them 3 colours at the top. I'm definitely not going to use that green, because if I use the green for the trees, you won't be able to see them. But I do want a little bit of the black. Might go around the edges with the black. Now I used a number 2 brush. It has actually been about half an hour. Half an hour, that's what watching Stranger Things. I said I'll watch it for 10 minutes while I have my dinner, and then half an hour later I'm still watching it, and I had to prize myself away. So on with the second layer. I'm not going to be as, you know, like trying to be perfect, because some areas I still do like, so I am going to leave them be. What's it going to look like then with a bit of this black? Let's get this activated. That might be too much. No, I think that should be okay. You know, on the very edges, maybe a little bit more. And then use my finger. That's not too bad. So I'll do that on each of the corners. Add more water. And I'll pop my finger actually straight into the water, and I'm sort of using this as a brush as well, my finger. And the bottom areas. Now, one thing that I would say is be careful how much water that you're actually using, because the paper might start pilling and you will notice it. It gets like a gritty feeling almost. Oh, a little bit on his foot. Good job that was watered down, that black then. So yeah, so you'll be able to feel it. Either whether you're doing it with your finger or not. In with the red. Put some more. Get this a little bit more intense. My sun's coming down. No more peaceful days after Thursday. Finished all his exams on Thursday. Some orange. Let's make it a little bit deeper around here. A little bit more. What are you dreaming about, Rolo? I can hear you. Some of the red. I am trying to be careful around his cute little face. Proper cute, innit? Use the leftover pigment on that up here. I'm just, you know, just looking around and where do I want to add this colour, where do I want to add that colour. Oh, and I stick my arm right into it. Now I didn't notice any bleed through. Now there is a little bit on the tip of the edges. But I didn't actually see any bleed through underneath, which is good. Some more of this orange. I put this arm in it. I'm going to be covered in Inktense. Let me see, some more red, but we'll do it on this corner. Or this edge rather. Do you want to make it a little bit more darker? Just in certain areas. Like I said, it's just adding bit by bit. Because the thing is, you can't take it away. Once you put that colour down, it's not like watercolour. It will be really difficult for you to, you know, lighten it back up again. Might even try. I'm going to change brushes and use these at number 1, this one. So I can show you here how tiny this is. Try this number 1. And then wipe that off. Clean water. Maybe my pinky will fit there. Just to move that colour around a little bit. You see? It gives it a pretty good effect actually. I'll try that here. A bit more water. I don't think I'll fit my pinky finger there. Now this area is still wet, so it should blend out a little bit easier. And there is a lot more of the orange pigment as well on this side. I'm not liking this bit, so a little bit of the dark there as well. Tiny bit more. Whoops, I went a bit water crazy there. Not to worry. Use a cloth and soak that up. Then continue blending it. So I'm just looking at the whole picture now. I will bring you up. So I think as the background's concerned, I'm quite happy with that. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to add a little bit of green to all the plants. And I think I'll use this green here, just to be a light layer, just to give myself something to work on, because like I said, that last night took me a good hour. So I'm thinking if I get rid of the white of the paper, that might make my world a little bit easier. What do you think? Sometimes it's better to leave it, not fuss with it, and then if you like it, you know, leave it. I'll come back the next day and check on it, but so far I do like it. So I'm going to go ahead and use that green for all the trees, but I'm thinking I want to use a bit of this colour here, which is, it's like a Payne's grey, but use it as like a little bit of a splatter effect. Not too much, just a little bit. So let's get this, I call it foliage, this green here. And what I'll do is I'll pop it into the well, because I don't want it to be really pigmented. I'm just using this as a base to work off. So I'll just use that little well, add more water. I want it really watered down, really. So a little bit more should be okay. and then a little bit more water, and that should be enough, I think. So actually, let me test. I'll test on the cloth. Yeah, that should be okay. So it is still wet this, so I'm going to have to be careful where I'm putting my hands. But oh, and I've missed a bit of the background right there. You should have shouted me. You should have shouted me. So I can go back and fix that once I've done all these areas. But the main reason, I just want to get rid of the white of the paper in these areas. Doesn't have to be perfect. It'll just make it easier for me to do the pencil work on top. That brown that is in this Inktense block isn't one of my favourites. I don't really like it, so I don't think I'll use that for the tree trunks. I'll just have to grin and bear just using pencil. I've got a couple of nice browns in the Derwent one that I could use. I'll be a little bit careful here because I don't want that black bleeding in. Let's get all these filled in. And this is a big area. His shell, I might do like a yellowy colour, but with like red streaks maybe going through it to go with the background. There's a plane flying over. Not a helicopter, it's a plane, I think. Yep. So really light wash on these. I wish there was more of the cutesy stuff in this book. I do remember her other book was Cute and Creepy, or Creepy. Yeah, it was Cute and Creepy, I think. So just this last little bit, and then I'll fill in that background area. That's all the waterfall. So let's do this background. A little bit of the yellow and the orange. Just get that filled in. And then actually for the waterfall, might as well base layer that, hadn't we? Let's water this down as well. I think what would be nice with this waterfall actually is at the end I can use acrylic paint and add like the, you know, the splashes. I know what I mean. I know what I mean. A little bit more down here. But no, realistically, I've took, I think, about an hour away from me messing around with this. Let me just double check. I think I'm happy with everything so far. So for the splatter, I actually used just a cheaper watercolour brush and see how I get on, because I want the splatters to be quite thin. So if I go into this colour, it looks like a Payne's grey to me. Let me test it on my rag. Yep, that should be okay. This might not even show up on camera, but you'll see it at the end. I'll lift it up. I'm not going to do any at the bottom because I don't want to risk getting it on the little turtle fellow. Just a little bit of something. Nothing too much. So that is the background complete on that. I am quite happy with that. I'm not going to mess around with it anymore. So I think I'll be able to get the rest of this done all with pencil. I could possibly base layer this with just normal watercolour. Oh my gosh, it's gone all over underneath my fingernails. I'm going to get that out. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. More of me just experimenting, having a bit of fun with one of my colouring pages. I will link down below this colouring book and the Inktense blocks. But until my next video, take care of yourself. Bye.